over a decade, Tesla's heartbeat with lithium-ion batteries. This chemistry powered the Model S, Model 3, and even the Cybertruck. But now, Elon Musk has decided to abandon this standard and invest in a technology many considered unviable, the aluminum-ion battery. This isn't just a material change, but a complete reversal of the industry's logic. Imagine abandoning the formula that underpinned the entire electric revolution to adopt something that engineers themselves said wouldn't scale. It's this kind of risk that separates a common upgrade from a true revolution. And the curious thing is that aluminum has always been around us. It's one of the most abundant metals on the planet, light, cheap, and easy to recycle. However, until recently, it was overlooked as a viable option for car batteries. The reason? Energy density. While lithium delivers 250 to 270 dWh in current models, aluminum barely reaches 200 dWh, well below that on average. This means less energy stored for the same weight. In other words, less range per charge. For a brand accustomed to breaking records, this seems like a step backward. But Elon Musk sees something almost no one else has. This vision isn't just about range, but also about recharge time. The new aluminum battery doesn't just want to take you further, it wants to get you back on the road faster. The latest tests indicate it can recharge from 0 to 100% in just 10 minutes. That's 3 times faster than Tesla's most advanced supercharger with a lithium battery. After a coffee break, you'd be ready to drive another 250 miles. The difference in user experience is striking, and perhaps that's where Tesla is betting all its chips. The comparison becomes even more interesting when considering the current scenario. Tesla's rivals, such as BYD and Volkswagen, are refining their lithium-ion-based models, seeking more range, more efficiency, more everything. And while everyone is racing in the same direction, Elon is turning a corner and going it alone. The message is clear. It's not about doing what everyone else is doing better, but about doing something entirely new. Tesla no longer wants to win long-distance races. It wants to win in pit stops. Still, the technical challenge is significant. Making an experimental technology like the aluminum battery commercially viable requires much more than a flashy announcement. It involves redesigning management systems, new safety protocols, adapting factories, and, of course, convincing consumers that this choice makes sense. After all, trading range for charging speed is no small decision. And Musk knows this, but he also knows that whoever gets to the mass market first, fast charging, affordable and durable, takes the cake. Another important point is the environmental impact. Although lithium has made significant progress in terms of recycling, it still relies on aggressive mining and complex logistics chains. Aluminum, on the other hand, is widely recyclable and already has a well-established reuse structure. This could mean, in the long term, a more sustainable production cycle, less dependent on unstable markets. A silent but powerful advantage, especially for consumers increasingly aware of their vehicle's environmental footprint. It's worth remembering that Tesla isn't simply testing this technology in a hidden prototype. The Model 2, scheduled for release in 2026, will already be equipped with this new battery. This completely changes the narrative. We're not talking about future promises, but a concrete plan. In 2 years, we could see an electric car on the road that fully recharges in less time than it takes to fill a tank of gas. This paradigm shift doesn't happen every day. And that's precisely what makes this revolution so intriguing. It's not about more power, more range, or more luxury. It's about breaking the logic we've been sold for years. Instead of charging once a week, how about charging at every coffee stop? Tesla is reframing the idea of what range means and putting something even more valuable to the average driver at the center of the discussion: time. And when a technology starts saving minutes instead of miles, it might be closer to our daily lives than we think. What at first glance might seem like a technical limitation, lower energy density, quickly turns into a bold proposition of convenience. While competitors seek to extend range to absurd limits, Tesla reframes the question: why charge everything at once when you can recharge it all in 10 minutes? And that's where the aluminum-ion battery changes the game. The idea of lasting 600 km on a single charge becomes less relevant when, in a quick pause, the car is ready to go another 400. The user experience begins to resemble using a smartphone more than a traditional car. Everyday math reinforces this new scenario. The average American drives about 60 kilometers per day. In other words, a full charge of the Tesla Model 2, even with less range than a Model 3, would be enough for almost a full week of urban use. However, unlike conventional electric vehicles, which require advanced recharging planning, aluminum offers something different: short, frequent, and hassle-free recharges. It's the end of range anxiety. Drivers no longer need to wonder if they have enough charge. They just need to know where the next coffee is. Furthermore, the impact on charging infrastructure is profound. Charging stations with cars that take 40 minutes to charge quickly become bottlenecks. Now imagine if each car occupied a space for only 10 minutes. Vehicle flow increases, wait times disappear, and the current network can handle many more users. This technical detail becomes a strategic advantage for cities, highways, and even Tesla, which already invests heavily in superchargers. A logistical gain no one expected. Of course, there's a cost to this paradigm shift: shorter range. Compared to Tesla's standard models, the Model 2 delivers about 20 to 30 miles less per charge. But for those who don't cross states every day, this difference pales in comparison. The trade-off is clear: a car with slightly less range, but one that behaves as if it had an infinite charge, as it's always ready to recharge quickly. And let's face it, in practice, it's much easier to find 10 minutes in a day than to plan an hour at a charging station. This new driving style can also influence route design. Drivers will be able to approach long trips with less worry, knowing that with each stop to stretch their legs, the car will be ready for another 400 kilometers. This changes route planning, road habits, and even the pace of the trip. Recharging ceases to be an interruption and becomes a natural, almost imperceptible, pause. The concept of a true pit stop enters the picture, bringing the world of racing cars into the daily lives of ordinary drivers. Another factor that comes into play is psychological perception. Range anxiety, that fear of running out of charge, has always been a barrier for the average consumer. But if the car recharges faster than you can eat a sandwich, this concern disappears. Time, which was once a villain in electric cars, becomes an ally. The user begins to see the experience as fluid, spontaneous, without the rigidity of planning every kilometer. This brings electric cars even closer to the daily routine of those who aren't tech enthusiasts. This jump in charging speed also hints at something more subtle, but extremely relevant: the collective use of vehicles. Fleets of taxis, electric motorcycle taxis, ride-hailing, and even public transportation can benefit from instant charging. While a conventional electric car spends hours idling, the aluminum Model 2 is back on the road in minutes. Daily usage time increases, the cost per kilometer plummets, and the sharing economy gains a new tool. Little by little, it's becoming clear that Tesla isn't simply accepting a flaw in its new battery. It's turning this feature into an asset. Instead of surrendering to its obsession with autonomy, it's proposing a new logic: less waiting, more road. And in doing so, it invites consumers to rethink what really matters in real life. After all, what's the point of having 600 kilometers of autonomy if the car has to spend half an hour idling in the middle of your day? When time becomes the new fuel, the race changes direction completely. As the market debates range and charging, an often overlooked detail begins to come to the fore: durability. And here, the aluminum-ion battery offers an almost unbelievable proposition. Today, Tesla's lithium-ion batteries are already considered the benchmark, with a capacity of 2,000 to 3,000 complete cycles, which equates to about 500,000 miles before noticeable degradation. But now, the new chemistry promises 4 times greater, up to 10,000 cycles. Translated to the average driver, this represents more than 2.5 million miles. It's like driving the same car your whole life, and still leaving it running for your grandchildren. This longevity completely changes people's relationship with a vehicle. The idea that a car gets old because of the battery simply ceases to exist. The aluminum-ion model maintains performance for decades, without the dreaded symptoms of wear, loss of range, or slow charging. This impacts everything from consumer confidence to resale value. After all, who wouldn't want to buy a used car with a battery that can still go another million miles? Now, consider the impact this has on businesses, fleets, and urban mobility services. A car that requires less maintenance, doesn't need battery replacement for decades, and remains efficient even after years of use is almost a logistical dream. Less downtime in the shop, less costly parts, and a service life that more than justifies the investment. Durability becomes a competitive advantage, whether for app-based drivers or companies that operate hundreds of vehicles daily. And there's more. The environmental issue also gains further weight. If a battery lasts 10,000 cycles, it means less waste, less production, less mining, and less pollution. The life cycle is extended, and the ecological impact of manufacturing each car is drastically reduced. In a world where sustainability is increasingly at the center of purchasing decisions, this argument doesn't go unnoticed. Tesla, without saying a word, delivers a solution that pleases environmentalists, economists, and engineers alike. This new battery's durability could also influence how cars will be financed in the future. Currently, much of an electric car's value is tied to the uncertainty surrounding its battery's lifespan. If this factor is no longer a concern, financial institutions may offer longer-term financing with lower interest rates and better terms. This paves the way for more people to purchase a Tesla, not as a luxury, but as a logical and economical choice. In fact, this durability even changes the way we think about technological updates. With cars that last so long, planned obsolescence loses its hold. Tesla can offer software upgrades, new features, or even hardware modules that fit the same platform. The car ceases to be a product with an expiration date and becomes a continuous base of innovation, always upgradable, like a computer on wheels. The durability of aluminum batteries can also change the logic of warranties. Currently, many automakers offer 8 years of battery coverage, but with 10,000 lifespans, this period can extend to 15, 20 years, or even more. Consumers gain security, and the brand gains reputation. Trust becomes embedded in the car's materials themselves, not just in the advertising promises. When we talk about revolution, we can't ignore the direct impact on our wallets. And that's precisely where the new aluminum-ion battery stops being just a technological innovation and becomes a true strategic coup. Aluminum, unlike lithium, is an abundant, cheap, and widely available material. We're talking about a metal that can cost up to 20 times less per ton. This factor alone completely changes the production chain. But things go even further when you crunch the numbers. Currently, producing a 50 kWh lithium battery costs something around $6,500, not counting assembly and integration. With the new aluminum battery, this value drops to around $3,200, a used $3,500. The difference is brutal. Just by changing the battery chemistry, Tesla saves more than $3,000 per car, and that's no small feat. In compact models like the Model 2, the battery represents nearly a third of the vehicle's total cost. Cutting that cost in half opens up space for something that seemed impossible until recently. The possibility of keeping the Model 2 price in the range of $1 $25,000 or even less in some markets becomes much more realistic with the use of aluminum. And more importantly, this reduction doesn't require sacrifices in comfort, technology, or safety. The savings come from the car's core, its energy heart, without compromising the user experience. It's like getting a top-of-the-line smartphone for half the price, simply because the battery is smarter and cheaper. This puts Tesla in a unique position vis-à-vis its competitors. While brands like BYD and Volkswagen try to balance cost and performance with mid-range solutions, Elon Musk is making a bold move, changing the entire equation. Instead of competing by squeezing margins or cutting corners, Tesla is reshaping production costs from the ground up, using radically more affordable raw materials. It's as if the game has been reset and started over again, with new rules. And the impact doesn't stop there. Lower prices mean wider access. An electric car under $25,000 opens the door to millions of consumers who, until now, viewed EVs as a distant luxury. Young people, middle-class families, ride-hailing drivers, everyone is now seeing Tesla as a viable, not just desirable option. This accelerates mass adoption, expands the global fleet, and accelerates the shift away from combustion-powered cars. Furthermore, with a cheaper and more durable battery, the cost of ownership also plummets. Simpler maintenance, fewer component replacements, higher resale value, and more economical recharging. All of this makes the Model 2's cost per kilometer one of the lowest on the market. It's the kind of quiet savings that don't show up on the display, but that wins over those who understand numbers, and that changes the owner's life in the long run. This new landscape also allows Tesla to be more aggressive in emerging markets. Countries like Brazil, India, and Mexico, which face logistical challenges and infrastructure limitations, become real targets for the brand's expansion. With an affordable, durable, and ultra-fast charging car, Tesla doesn't need to wait for the world to adapt. It arrives tailored to the world. And this completely changes the pace of the global transition to electric vehicles. With this move, Elon Musk isn't just delivering a cheaper car. He's showing that innovation can be achieved by cutting costs rather than inflating prices. The Model 2, with its aluminum battery, isn't just a product. It's a plan of attack. And if the numbers hold true in practice, it won't be just Tesla that will reap the rewards. The average consumer will finally be able to get their hands on a true electric car, priced like a popular hatchback, and featuring cutting-edge technology. With all this transformation in battery chemistry, what was once a distant promise is fast approaching reality. The Tesla Model 2 can finally deliver the perfect balance of price, practicality, and performance. The estimated range of 250 miles per charge, or about 400 kilometers, may even seem modest at first glance, especially when compared to the 272 miles of the Model 3 or the 361 miles of the Hyundai Ioniq 6. But the secret is not in the distance it travels on a single charge, but in the speed with which it is ready to run all over again. In real-world use, the number isn't impressive, but it does a lot. The average daily commute in the United States is around 37 miles. This means the Model 2, even with its 250-mile range, can be used for 6 to 7 days before needing a recharge. In other words, it can last practically a whole week of work, shopping, and sightseeing without showing any signs of hunger. And when that moment arrives, all it takes is 10 minutes plugged in. Recharging is so fast that downtime goes unnoticed, especially compared to the current EV landscape, where 30 to 60 minutes of waiting are still common. To put things into perspective, Chevrolet's Bolt, with similar range, takes about an hour to recharge 80% on a 55 PT fast charger. The Model 3 itself, even at Tesla's latest generation superchargers, needs 25 to 30 minutes to go from 10 to 80%. Now, compare that to the Model 2, which goes from 0 to 100% in 10 minutes. The difference isn't just technical, It's practical. Instead of wondering where and when to charge, the driver simply stops, grabs a coffee, and gets back on the road with a full battery. This logic completely transforms the experience of driving an electric car. Recharging is no longer an obstacle and becomes an almost invisible part of daily life.